There is a type of mental disorder I've researched about that needs to be addressed. It's a very common one, but there is an amount of people who would rather not recognize it. Corporate media, colleges, and schools never talk about it. Understanding about this disorder should be simple, but it's not. It not only requires time to understand how the human brain works, curing oneself of it not only requires time to learn how and why various groups of individuals behave the way they do. It requires self-examination, persistence, and courage to get more people to become aware of why they are insecure and uncertain about themselves, and more, because this disorder is so deep-rooted within so many. It's insanely bad because it's caused a lot of human suffering for several years, partially due to lack of knowledge about it. It's caused a lot of people to be at conflict with each other, as well as within themselves, without really being aware of it. What I'm explaining is not just any mental disorder, by the way. It's man-made and institutionalized through very sinister ways. It's a psychological conditioning embedded so deep within the larger majority of the human race. This disorder is called statism. A major part to this man-made disorder that has been subconsciously and unconsciously developed over the past centuries is cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is when someone's core beliefs don't match up with factual evidence and logic that is presented to them. When information someone has never really thought about comes into conflict and contradiction with someone's strong and familiar beliefs, there comes a mental tension and discomfort. Those who reject the new information will ignore, reply in denial, or rationalize away the information they won't welcome so they don't ever have to think about it. The rejection of reality and reason to those who are conflicted with cognitive dissonance happen with too many people, way too many to keep track of. Explaining about statism as a mental disorder would be a way to help people understand why they are in constant conflict with one another, why nothing is really changing for the better, and why civil liberties of individuals are getting restricted little by little. I'd like to try to compare and differentiate between the statist mental disorder and another that is called bipolar disorder. The guest speaker I'm about to interview and talk with might help bring some insight. Maybe in return, I could help her a little in some way. Welcome, Valerie. This is my friend Valerie.
Hi.
Yeah, we've been friends a really long time, right?
Yeah, about 8 or 9 years, I believe.
Yeah, at least that long.
I cannot believe it's been that long.
Yeah.
Time flies.
Yeah. She's going to be here to answer some questions, and we're going to start. We might talk about some of them.
What kind of question are you going to ask me?
Well, it's mostly going to be questions about your condition, your bipolar, your
Okay.
bipolar disorder.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So, ready to get started?
Yep.
Okay. First one. How much of the common bipolar traits do you have?
Oh my gosh. To be honest, I never really noticed because it's been a hard time for me. Because when I've been diagnosed, I've not really been told how many traits I got.
Mm-hmm.
But I always thought that instead of bipolar, I always thought that I was schizophrenic because I was scared to be followed. I was scared of the dark, and I was having hallucinations. I was hearing voices. But it turns out that I was bipolar because I was pretty depressed too. So I never really looked online how many traits I got in common with bipolar.
Well, do you know all of them?
I'm sorry?
Do you know all of them?
No.
Well, I know I wrote down some of them. So.
Okay, so I could tell you which one I have.
Okay. You already mentioned depression, like feeling hopeless,
Yeah.
sad, or empty.
Yeah.
Irritability?
Maybe, but I'm not sure about that one. What?
Fatigue?
Yeah, oh yeah, a lot of fatigue, to be honest, yeah. Because I remember a few days before I got hospitalized, I was really fatigued, and I was sleeping more than 12 hours a day.
Yeah,
And
you do oversleep.
yeah, I do. Still today.
Physical or mental sluggishness?
What do you mean?
Like you're slow?
Maybe I would say yes.
Yeah. Yeah, you know how a slug moves, like slow?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean by sluggishness.
Yeah. Okay.
Appetite or weight changes?
I have a huge appetite, to be honest, but I'm not sure if it is about my bipolar because I always have been having a huge appetite.
Feelings of worthlessness or guilt?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Especially after the death of my grandmother, my maternal one, I feel a lot of guilt because I was loving her a lot. And I felt like I was not there for her and everything, but she was there for me. But we always been there for each other.
Aw. Yeah, that is sad.
And this is funny because tomorrow will mark her 100 years old if she was still with us.
Alright, next question. Well, for most people, bipolar first occurs for people during their teens or early adulthood.
Yeah.
So, what age were you when
I've been diagnosed.
Hmm?
How old
Yeah.
I was when I got diagnosed? I was 20. Let me count. I was 20. I think I was 21.
Oh, so early adulthood.
Yeah. But according to my doctor, he always told me that I always been bipolar since my morning I got since an early age when I was a young girl.
Okay.
But I was never got diagnosed with it. And when I moved in my first apartment in 2006,
Yeah.
it was like the wake up call, you know what I mean? So I was feeling a lot lonely and I was rejected and I felt pretty depressed. And that's why a few months after I moved, I had to be hospitalized for my depression.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you said that you may have irritability?
Yeah.
How irritable would you say that you usually get?
Maybe stability, because I feel a lot it's kind of funny to say because I feel a lot lazy. I don't have the willing to do any stuff.
Oh, lazy?
Yeah. Oh, especially lazy. Yeah. I don't have I feel determined to do some stuff, but I don't have always the willing to do it.
Out of all of the common bipolar symptoms that I've listed, which of them do you think most people who haven't been diagnosed with bipolar experience?
I would say if you start to feel depressed and you feel kind of want to give up or anything, just reach out for the help.
Yeah,
Don't wait.
that's good advice.
Don't wait until last minute because that's what I did, and That was a huge mistake because when I got hospitalized, a few hours before I got hospitalized, I could not stop crying and crying, but I didn't know why. And the doctor was asking me what's wrong, and I could not tell them. So if you just start to feel depressed,
Yeah.
just shout for the help. Don't, don't feel useless. Just reach out for the help as soon as possible.
Yeah.
They'll therefore help you, not to burn you.
Yep, that's very good advice. Yes, I think that most would experience at least most of the symptoms, especially irritability and feeling hopeless or feeling guilt.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely those traits.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. I think this was last week.
Yeah.
I've recently read a little about the warped thinking people with bipolar tend to have.
Mm-hmm.
A decision is made with another friend, for example, and then later on, the person with bipolar, the mind does a 180-degree turn, causing the person with bipolar to tell his or her friend that in disagreement, there's a disagreement
Mm-hmm.
when there had been an agreement prior to that. This thought imbalance is a chemical imbalance in the brain. There's a distortion of truth. How common would you say is it for you to have these manic episodes?
Well, to be honest, I've been stable for about 10 years now.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have a lot of manic episodes, but I suffer from a lot of anxiety. I mean,
Anxiety, yeah.
yeah. So it's a factor. And I read recently that one of the common for bipolar disorder people is if you start to feel anxiety, it's a one of the side effects. I heard about that,
Hmm.
but I'm not sure if it is how related, if it is like that, or but I feel a lot anxious lately, but I'm not sure if it is related to the bipolar disorder. Some people might say it's because of different disorders, but for me, I read it's because of my bipolar disorder. And I have as well the obsessive OCD. I must say that.
Well, people who don't have bipolar tend to have OCD as well.
Yeah.
At least some people do.
Mm-hmm. And some people don't have the OCD and they have bipolar, and some people don't have bipolar but they have OCD. So it depends of different people.
Yep, depends on the individual and
What they
how they
went
were
through.
born, their environment.
Yeah, and what they gone through the years.
Yeah. Do you think it would be possible for someone without bipolar disorder to experience similar irrational thought processes and behavior?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I think so, but like I said earlier, if you start to feel downness, just reach out for the help as soon as possible. Don't wait last minute because you could do something you might regret.
Yeah.
And if you want to just talk to someone, a parent, a friend, or on a tool line. I don't know if you guys have that in the US, but over here we have
Like a
a
hotline?
yeah.
Yeah, we got that.
Okay.
Yeah, earlier today, like one of the corporate news channels mentioned about a singer who sang a song about depression, or
Mhm.
rather suicide. and the title of it was The Number of the Hotline.
Okay.
And that was kind of interesting.
I bet.
Yeah.
Do you remember the name of the channel?
Oh, I think it was CBS channel.
Okay.
It was like CBS News.
Okay.
Evening CBS mainstream media. Okay, the next one is, do you think anyone is capable to blame others for their own problems? And it's like, not just bipolar people, but many other people, even those who aren't diagnosed by a doctor.
Yeah, I think so because it all related to the self-confidence.
Yep, self-confidence. Yes, that's part of it.
And to be honest, as I speak for me, I mean, I've always been self-conscious. I never really told anyone, but I always been self-conscious about my looks. I'm not able to do this or I'm not able to do that.
Like low self-esteem.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
And I've
there.
always been told, like, especially to my mom, I've always been told, "Oh, don't worry. I'm really proud of myself, but in fact, I'm not really proud of myself or what I've achieved so far."
I think that more often than not, than what people are really aware of, is
Mm-hmm.
that they constantly blame others for
Yeah.
their mistakes.
Oh, yeah. And they blame
Constantly.
themselves.
Yeah.
They blame others. They blame themselves. They blame everyone. Everyone who is on their paths. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And that's why people are so insecure around others, and like a lot of people, a large majority of people in this world,
Yeah.
insecure and
Mm-hmm. A
of
lot of
themselves and
anxious.
others
They're
around them.
anxious too. They're stressed.
Yeah, very stressed. And they tend to think that by force, then people can get along. Like enforcement of policies and enforcement of law and order.
Yep.
Yeah, and when you start asking people questions about what they believe and why they believe it, deep questions.
Like, why me? Why it's happening to me? Why do I deserve this?
Yeah, or why not trust people to be in charge of their own lives?
Mm-hmm.
Why not trust them to do that? But if people are not allowed to be in charge of their own lives, then what makes anyone else capable of being in control of each other's lives
Exactly. I
without
have
the
to agree with that.
consequences?
I agree with you because, like, if you're not trusting yourself, how will you trust others?
That's right. If you don't love yourself first, then how will you love those around you?
Exactly.
Yeah, it always starts with yourself.
Yeah.
And the only person that can change yourself.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
pretty much the only person you're really in control of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly. I have to agree with you with that.
And this is a good segue into the 5 questions that are of the Socratic method. Have you ever heard of that? The Socratic method?
I don't think so. I don't think I have.
Well, the Socratic method is named after Greek philosopher Socrates.
Okay.
He tended to ask people questions about themselves so they could like self-examine for themselves, find what contradictions they have.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really awesome. It's a really awesome method to find out about people.
Is it based on a book too?
I'm sure there was a book I'm sure there's books written about Socrates. I recently found out that Socrates invented democracy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was not. Yeah, the guy
Wow.
who had a good philosophy about him, and that he actually cared deeply about people to convince them that to not assume much,
Mm-hmm.
and that they don't know everything.
Oh my God.
Definitely not.
Definitely not. I was
Yeah,
about to tell you that.
yeah, yeah. So the guy who invented democracy, that ended up resulting in his murder.
Whoa.
Yeah, yeah. I'm definitely going to have to look more into this
Mm-hmm.
for like further specifics. But I thought that was just wow. I did not I I was not expecting to learn about this fact.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the five questions. I want to go over these questions to you, whether it's a disorder, officially diagnosed with the disorder, or unofficially. As I explained to you earlier on how statism is a mental disorder. Yeah, I already explained this to her way ahead of time, way before I even asked her to do this interview.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I've been diagnosed on paper, but I grew to accept it. Even I grew like I grew to accept it,
Except
but
what?
for my disorder,
Oh, uh huh.
and I mean, it took a while to accept it, but for
I'm
now
sure
it's
it
just a
did.
piece of paper for me. Because since I'm taking medication for it, I mean, for me, it's just part of my life, so I'm getting used to it. So, but in a good way. I mean, I grew up to accept it.
Yeah, you've got no choice but to accept it pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for me, like, especially that I'm stable since 10 years already. I mean,
That's pretty good.
so I, of course, I had a few manic episodes in a few years, but I've never went to the hospital again for a long period again. Like I went to the hospital last year, but it was only for 24 hours checkup.
hmm Why 24-hour checkup?
It was because of my OCD. I just
Oh.
had an episode with my OCD, but it was no related to my bipolar. It was only for my OCD. And after 24 hours, I told them I was not quite ready to leave, but I had enough after 24 hours. And I was like, okay, yeah, I got it. I think I'm good to leave, because I think if I would have told them I'm not ready to leave,
hmm
they would have kept me for another hour, another 24 hours or more, and I didn't want that.
All right, are you ready to answer the five questions for yourself?
I'm sorry.
Are you ready to answer the five questions of
Yep.
first one? Is there any method in which any number of people can have the moral right to do something which no one else has to do? Well, which no one has the moral right to do. For example, just something really easy and dumb, jumping 20 feet straight up in the air all on your own.
I'm sorry, I don't get your question.
Okay, okay. All right. Layman's. I'll try to do as best as I can in layman's terms. Is there any method for any group of people to give someone else the right, the actual ability, any actual ability to do something no one else can do? And
uh,
the easy And dumb example that I wrote down is jumping 20 feet straight up in the air all on your own. No, obviously not. It's impossible.
Without the parachute.
Well, all on your own, you can't.
Yeah, exactly. If you jump, you're going to kill yourself on the ground.
Well, you can't like jump from the ground 20 feet straight up.
I know, but I mean, if you're in a airplane and you jump with a parachute or
Without a
whatever,
parachute, yeah, of course. Of course you'll die.
you're going to kill yourself.
Yeah. Okay. A more realistic example.
Okay.
Does any group of people have the moral right to allow someone to steal someone else's stuff?
Definitely not. I think there's some things, yes, we can say there's some help we can seek for that, but if you really want help, you can do it.
Well, not steal, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, if you want to stop stealing, there are some people who can help you for that.
Yep.
But not stealing is not a good way to do it.
No, it's not. Moving on. Ready?
Yeah.
All right. Do those who wield political power, presidents, legislators, etc., have the moral right to do things no one else has the moral right to do?
President.
Yeah, presidents, legislators, Congress people,
Oh my
judges.
god. Oh my god, don't start with me with that. Oh my god. Oh my god. Like, I'm in Canada, so I cannot speak for you Americans, but
What about in
it's not,
Canada?
yeah, but right now it's a real joke.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. What's your question again?
Do those
Yeah.
who wield political power, such as presidents, legislators, congressmen, and so on, have the moral right to do things no one else has the moral right to do?
No, it has to be fair for everyone.
Yeah, that's right.
If there are congressmen, president, prime minister, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
they don't deserve, like, they think they're powerful because they think they have more rights, but in a way they should have the same rights as other normal people.
But most don't see it that
But
way.
yeah, because they think they're powerful, so for them they think they have more rights, but in fact they should have the same rights as other people.
Well, there's only one reason why they have power.
Mm-hmm.
Or in their own mindset think they are more powerful and have the right to do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
It is because people allow that. They allow
Yeah.
for that. The third, is there any process, such as constitutions, elections, and legislation, by which human beings can transform an immoral act into a moral one without changing the act itself?
What do you mean?
Like,
Can you give me an example?
okay, for an example, to force people to pay for someone else's health care,
Okay.
or to force them to force their neighbor to pay their children's education,
Mm-hmm.
even when the neighbors don't have children of their own. Is there any process by which, by constitutions, elections, and legislation, in which an immoral act can be changed into a moral and just act without changing the act itself.
Mm, that's a toughy question, but I think it depends of the people. I mean, especially here. I mean, I've been trying to help a few people before,
Mm-hmm.
and they helped me back. So it's kind of fair, but I would say it depends of the people.
Yes, it sort of does depend
Yeah,
on the people.
yeah. But right now I don't help anymore because I have my own struggles, and that's enough for me.
Mm-hmm. And do you think that forcing someone else to pay uh, for your needs, your medical needs, for example, would it be possible for this forcing of someone else to pay for you an immoral act become a moral one without changing the act itself? Is there any like process?
Like I said, I don't think it would be fair because it's your own things. Why would
Yeah.
you ask a person to help you?
Yep,
I
you can
mean, for
ask.
like, for mine things, I don't think the person won't mind, but something has such as medication or to pay for the education of your children is really expensive.
Yeah.
And you have to trust the person that you will pay them back. But if you don't know them for long and you ask them for help, that will be a little weird. That will be kind of disrespectful. You know what I mean? Because you don't know the person for a while, for a long time, and then you ask for a huge thing.
Yeah. You ready for the next one?
Yeah.
All right. When lawmakers and law enforcers use coercion and force in the name of law and government, do they bear the same responsibility for their actions the same way anyone else would do it?
Oh my God. Seriously?
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that one.
When I ask any other person this question, like I asked someone on other social media this question, already
Mm-hmm.
he started to he started saying, "Oh, they have powers and which other people don't." And one of my other friends challenged him, saying, "Tell me more about these special powers."
Yeah, well, I have to agree with that person because even if a person is like, I'm not sure if that's the right word, but a high head, you know what I mean, like I said earlier,
A
a
hothead.
president or a congressman, you know,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of special power do they have other than breathing?
Yeah.
What makes them so special? They breathe the same air as we do, so
Yeah, of course. And they are human, the
yeah,
law
exactly.
enforcers. And when if you see them if you ever see one of these law enforcers doing something wrong, like harm a person that hasn't harmed them in the first place, do you think they'd have the same responsibility for their own actions as anyone else would?
Yeah.
Most people don't think so.
Oh, really?
No, they don't.
Okay.
Yeah. Even the cop says, "Well, I don't make the law, I just enforce it."
Wow.
Yeah, it's true. Over here in USA Incorporated, with growing police state, there are, especially, definitely in cities, there are those militarized police.
Mhm.
And I've seen video clip of police officer in gear spraying peaceful protesters in the face.
Wow.
with the mace. Yeah.
My
And
God.
pepper spray.
That's horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, and over here in suburbia, the local sheriff's office, they have quite a bad reputation. Well, they certainly, yeah, they definitely have methods, criminal methods of getting a rise out of people. Doesn't matter if they're doesn't matter if the suspect is innocent or guilty. They tend to do some really bad things.
Wow.
Alright, last one of the 5 questions. When there is a conflict between someone else's own moral conscience and the commands of a political authority, does the person have to do what he or she views as wrong in order to, quote, obey the law?
What do you mean?
If there is a conflict between a person's own morality and the commands of any authority figure, is the
Okay.
person obligated to do what he or she personally views as wrong in order to obey the law?
I don't think so. I mean, they don't have to prove themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't think, because there are so many things that happened lately on the news. I mean,
Yep.
like some strikes or whatever it is.
Or
And
shooting, or
yeah, exactly.
bombing, or
Yeah,
a crazy riot.
yeah, exactly. That's what I was tell. I said strike, but I mean riot. Yeah, they think they have to prove themselves, but sometimes they do good with them, but sometimes doesn't do any good.
Yeah, it
They
depends
do
on
it
what
for a
they're
reason.
doing.
Do it for a reason to stop something.
Yeah. Your head hurting from those last 5 questions?
Yeah. You don't have to have them because I stutter a bit,
Uh-huh.
but you can have the first 5 if you want.
Well, those were the 5.
Okay, I thought you had 10.
Nope, just 5.
Wow.
Yeah, I told you
But
5, and
the
somehow
first
you
5
thought it was
was
10.
my disorder, right?
Oh, yeah.
But that's what I mean. I mean, the first 5 was for my disorder, and then the last 5 was for that. I was like, what? I
Yeah.
didn't expect that something like that.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I told you it was like most of what this interview, most of it was going to be about.
Yeah, I remember, but I forgot. Do you want to go back to text?
um, well, final closing words. Thank you for doing this interview.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. For those watching, I hope you will continue to root for Valerie since she became aware of what's been going on in this world, since I tend to
Yeah,
share.
exactly. Thanks to you, because otherwise I wouldn't have known all of this.
Yeah. Yeah, because I tend to share at least a handful of what I look into.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you liked this video and you find it useful information, then please share. Get those who are interested in the topic of mental health to discuss statism, because the larger majority of people aren't aware of how unofficially diagnosed they are with this metaphorical brain cancer. There is another disorder that I'd like to compare statism to, but that is for another video, and I hope this one helps people understand at least a little. Well, until next video, I hope to get the next part out really soon. I was hoping to get this video done sooner. I had another interviewer, but she was a different young woman, who has bipolar disorder, but it turned out that she wasn't as interested as I was in doing this video. Yeah, stuff happened. It just didn't work out. So I'm glad I finally got this interview done. I should have turned to someone that I trusted more. I was being the hopeful, stubborn optimist that I am. I was hoping to help her cope through her issues, but it turned out that she just wasn't that interested, just didn't, you can't help everybody, especially when people don't want to help themselves or let anyone help them help themselves. Yeah, and it's very unfortunate when that happens, and the only thing you can do is move on. Take care, everyone. I hope to get part 2 of this out as soon as possible.